What's up, guys? Devan here from Engearment.com. Today we're so excited. This has been a project very long in the making. We are testing out the FSR Aspen Light rooftop tent. So we have been testing it out this past weekend. We're up here in obviously snowy Colorado, but we're super excited. We're going to walk you through kind of what it looks like. But first, take a look at how quickly and easily this pops up. Okay, so it took less than 3 minutes for me to set this up, which is awesome. So we tested it out yesterday, which is the first time. It's been a while coming, which I'm so excited. So this is what it's going to look like when it's on the roof. Ignore my trash bag. So you have, again, this is going to be actually, so the cool thing about this and why it's ultralight is this is actually a hard shell, or so it's not a hard shell, it's a soft top, but like obviously a very hard, firm soft top. So what you're gonna have over here is, again, this is gonna be your Aspen Light. So the cool thing about this is it weighs less than 90 pounds, which is awesome. So you might be wondering, okay, Devan, what are you doing with a RAV4? That's not your traditional overland vehicle. Well, that is exactly why I'm working with FSR. So one thing, a couple summers ago, so my friend Nikita, my Canadian friend, you all know her. She's actually up there right now camping. So I spent a week and a half in British Columbia last year. We were going all around British Columbia, all over pretty much. And we spent every night of that 10-day trip in one of the FSR rooftop tents. And you all know Sean, who's the founder of Engearment. He also has rooftop tents, loves them. And I know like in the last year or so, I've kind of really loved the idea of overlanding. Again, initial thought is you either have to have a pickup truck, you have to have a 4Runner, or you have to have a camper van. Otherwise, you're out of luck. Well, when we were camping this summer with her FSR tent, I was like, this is really cool. Went to go look it up. Turns out they're down in Golden, Colorado, not too far from us. So we were talking with them, and we partnered with them before, and we were kind of chatting with their company. It was like, hey, I have my RAV4, as you can see here, RAV4 hybrid. We love the hybrid. I want to make it and try to see how can we get this fitted out to be an overland vehicle. So it's not, again, your traditional rig, but it's been awesome. So again, what they actually just came out with is going to be your Aspen Light. So this is going to be, like I said, a soft top tent. It's going to be your 2-person tent. We'll go up in a second, as you can see here. And it's going to be kind of that clamshell material, which is great. So the whole reason I wanted kind of the rooftop tent is, one, if we're camping, or we want to have functionality and practicality. So we love being out in the mountains. Obviously the first thing I think of is in the summer, if we're going to hike 14ers or go out for a long hike on the weekend, it gets really crowded. So sometimes it's easier to drive up the night before and camp, but with a normal tent, again, nothing wrong with that tent. Camping is great, but it was just like you have to set the tent up. It takes a space in the car. You then have to pack things down. All of a sudden it's taking 30 minutes to break down camp and set up camp, which in the morning when you're trying to get on the trails to beat the weather or to beat the crowds, that gets a little old. So I love the idea this summer with Nikita and with her tent. And I'm not gonna lie, before July I was very skeptical of these rooftop tents. I was like, okay, those look okay. Like they kind of look like mattresses and box springs on a car, but you know, you do you. However, what I really liked about it was like when we spent those 10 days in that tent, I was blown away. What I loved when we spent the first part at her cabin, so we were able to use it kind of as home base when we were out on the lake. And then we did about 5-day road trip, and it was so nice and such a game changer to be able to get to a campsite late, pop up, set up tent within less than 5 minutes, have dinner ready and get done. And then the next morning, which is the best part, is being able to break down that tent again in 5 minutes or less and be on your merry way to the next base. So I reached out to them, was kind of like, hey, how do we get started? And it's been awesome. So again, rooftop tents, we're going to be doing a whole series. So this is just kind of part one of a very long awaited series of kind of intro to overlanding from the very beginner perspective, which is me, and kind of showing what is camping and kind of giving you some tips and tricks on how to make it comfortable and fun. So again, we're excited to start off with FSR. So yeah, I love what FSR is great for. So again, they're all about, so FSR stands for Free Spirit Recreation. They are all about how do you make the outdoors more accessible to folks? How do you help be nice, lightweight? So maybe our weekend warriors or folks who don't want that whole rig camp setup, you're able to get what you need and have know more than what you need and be able to be successful in your goals. So it's great for people who are maybe they're fishing and they want to get out on the weekend. If you're hiking or trail running on the weekend, what I'm super excited about is actually for skiing. If you live anywhere in the Colorado area, you know I-70 is not your favorite road. So what I loved is like, how do we find a place to kind of pitch camp before we go skiing, which is nice. You can avoid the traffic. So we are very excited about that. So let's kind of take a look inside. Okay, so with your FSR light tent, you come with a ladder, which is great. So because I have a hatchback on the back of my car, we have the rigs on both sides. You have hooks here on this side. You then also have hooks over here on this side. So it allows you to access from the side entrance. There is an opportunity if you don't have the hatchback, and I mean, maybe you could do it with the hatchback. I don't fully think it would actually work, but you can enter from the back. So this is kind of going to be your normal entryway. These are going to be the side entryways, which is great. So that's kind of how we've been using it. So you have the main frame right here, which is going to shut down. So again, what I really like about this one compared to some of the others is this handle right here. You simply give it a yank, it comes down, you simply give it a pull, it pops up, which is great. So you have 4 different clips on the sides. The big thing we'll show later when you're kind of breaking it down is you want to make sure everything's tucked inside. You pull it down, it's clamped down. It's maybe about 4 inches on, or 4 or 5 inches on your car profile. It's awesome. What I like here too, so on the back is you're going to have these shoe bags. So we all know, like, sometimes, well, today's actually a perfect example because it is quite muddy here. Look how pretty it is. But it's mud season. So again, if we want to make sure we have our shoes up here but not get dirt in the camp or in the cabin part of it, you can put your shoes there. So with your ultralight ladder, so again, it's gonna compact down. We'll show you later, but it compacts down pretty smallly. You just lock it in place. You're able to then crawl on up here. First thing that we have right here is you are going to have your, well, first thing on either side, you're gonna have this diesel port heater. So if you have a diesel heater, you can run it in, which is nice. I have not tested that out, so stay tuned for more. But what I like is you have this cinching pad right in here. Keep it nice and tight. Then you have your bug layer on the outside, so you'll unzip that. Then you have this insulated layer in here. You'll unzip this. You'll unzip this. I have it filled right now with all of our stuff, but in here you then are going to have your mattress. So it's going to be a 3-inch mattress, I believe, 3 or 4 inches right here. So kind of like a normal sleeping pad. On the other side, they're self-inflating. So what I recommend is right when you get to camp, just kind of open that to the inflate setting. And then the next morning when you're trying to break it down, just flip it over to the deflate setting. So it kind of helps you with that and makes the close up, or makes your sleeping pad nice and comfy, makes shutdown a little bit quicker. So we slept on this last night, super comfy, which I like. So what I also love is you don't have to, like some rooftop tents, you have to buy the mattress separately. So this is nice that it comes in with it. What you have then in here is going to be your so you have this, you kind of have this like clamshell. So again, this side's gonna be a little more narrow. The Aspen Light, I will say, they have a lot of different sizes and models, but this one specifically is for if like you're 6 foot or less, it's probably the thing for you. I do not have to worry about the height issue, but just like something to be mindful of. Again, how long it is. We're hoping that my husband and I and our dog can really sleep in it, which is, again, 2 of us, and Kina and I slept in it fine last night, and so she may have thought we were a little too cozy, but I think it's great. So again, like I said, normally, so like this is the other window on the other side, so you, right now I have just the bug netting in there. You have this nice thick layer right here. We'll have another video later on. It kind of goes into every aspect of this tent, but this is just kind of the first preliminary view. What I really liked last night, and we'll show it later, is this is going to be kind of your I don't know what's called, but like an organizer. So over here, we're able to put, when we have our sleeping bags in here, if you have your iPad, you can put it in here if you want to watch a show, or like you can just, again, nice and organized since it is a little narrow, but someone who likes to have some extra stuff in here, that's really helpful. What also is super cool, which we'll show you later, is this is all lights in here. There's a whole light system in here. So you have just this little battery, USB battery packed, which you can find right here. So you plug it in. You'll just plug it in, and you have all these different settings, which is nice, so we'll show you that later. So what will happen is when this clamshell comes down, this actually, you have to pop up. So what you'll first have to do is just unzip this. In here, again, look how pretty it is. Shout out to Crocs, we love them. So what we'll have in here, basically you'll zip this down. There's gonna be a little bar in here that you kind of push out, which will be able to let this stay up here. what I love is this is super tall. So like you aren't feeling super claustrophobic, which is nice. You're able to change in here, which is great. And then you have more, so you have a thicker insulation over here. You have, if you had like an option for a rear entry, which is great, you can roll that up. So pretty. And then you have kind of another insulation here. So in the summer, this, when you open this, will go right to the right to the rooftop. So this is going to be a soft shell rooftop, like top part versus a hard shell. And so in the summer, you can unzip that, get a little extra insulation. So yeah, we're really loving it. So we slept in it last night, which is great. I'm like so excited. I love this brand, and we've been working on it for a while. So my whole goal with this series is how do we kind of help give tips and tricks of how to kind of do that entry to overlanding. And if you're someone like me who has an everyday car like your RAV4, how do you kind of turn that and use that into an overland vehicle? So we'll be chatting more a little bit moving forward, but stay tuned. So again, if you haven't already, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to FSR or to Engearment.com as well as FSR.com. We'll leave in the show notes below. We'll leave links to this specific tent. Stay tuned for more. We're going to do quite a few different series. We'll talk about kind of more of the aspect, like the technical aspects of this tent, how I actually built out this rig, which is great, and then kind of some tips and tricks as I go along the way, because I'm learning this too. And again, I think the biggest thing with outdoors is it can be intimidating, which is good. You need to have some healthy respect for it, and especially as a kind of a female traveler, finding ways that you can get outside and kind of stay safe and feel comfortable so you can have the outdoors available to you, so I can help continue to share some of these tips and tricks. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe, and we're wishing you happy trails and hoping that you get to have some more sunshine, some more mountain time soon. Thanks, y'all.